Good morning. It's 10 a.m. at the time of recording here. Joey on the Cariboo Weather Dude YouTube channel. I've had a busy weekend. Played 4 games of baseball, umpired 3 games, played a concert here in Wells at the Little Hiking Festival, back and forth into Quesnel 50 times. Sorry I've not had forecasts up for a few days. And I chased storms, actually, on Friday as well, although I couldn't actually chase that far because I had about a 3-hour window from when the storm started firing to when I had to pick up the kids, which means I got to subtract a little of that so that I can travel to get there. We did catch the tail end of storm, and then I had to go to the baseball tournament, so I couldn't chase past there. So I was kind of hemmed in. But I did warn you on the channel on Friday that these would be the strongest storms in Canada that we had in the Cariboo, Prince George, and that happened. Likely had major power outages. We had, Telechek in places got hit very hard. Bednesty got hit very hard. Some power outages, down trees, minor damage. I haven't seen anything major. If you know of anything major anywhere, please let me know, and I'll make sure the appropriate people at Northern Tornado Project, which I'm part of, as a contributor, I should, qualify. We will make sure that they get that information. So let us know. But I think that people, like the tornado watch was definitely the right call when they put it down in Prince George, and maybe they needed to expand that a little further in retrospect based on some of the damage I'm seeing around Miocene and places out towards Horseflower. People are telling me they haven't seen wind like that in 20 years. We had a very strong system. I'm going to hit the credits on. We're going to keep talking in a second. Let's go. There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen. Get on! Wow.
I'll watch the video later. They try mopping this.
It was absolutely the right call to put a tornado watch down on Prince George because maybe a warning wasn't necessarily appropriate, even though there was a storm that was doing things that easily could have been producing a tornado. People are like, Joey, why are they suddenly putting so many tornado watches and warnings in the Prince George area? I mean, there's a lot of reasons. A little bit of climate change reason in there, of course. There's better radar than we used to have, so we can see into storms better. Northern Tornado Project has been proving that there's tornadoes happening here, and then us, for 10 years, we've been showing that severe thunderstorms can produce damaging consequences, including tornadoes. With Interior Weather and Wilderness Watches, with this channel, we have many times now helped deliver reports into Northern Tornadoes Project. So what you're seeing is a result of the science getting better, is that, this whole myth that BC can't have tornadoes is absolute horseshit. So I want to do a couple things here. Going to, harp on that a little bit, but we're going to look forward to our next big severe weather outbreak in British Columbia, which will be Wednesday. There is some funnel cloud risk in the prairies today. In fact, it's like all of Western Canada is going to get back into a thunderstormy pattern. It's going to be sort of like Friday again, coming, and it's going to be wild. It's going to be exceptional. It's going to be violent at times, and it's going to be a lot of fun. In fact, I'm planning, because I don't have to get kids on Wednesday. It's finally on a weekday, a chaseable day. I got to do a little bit of work on my truck the next 2 days, but I got to get myself up to Prince George. And then from there, TJ and I are going to figure out where to go chase properly. There's 2 mines, although I think I'm going to go up the Heart. I think that's where I'm going to go. There's better visibility up there, better viewing. There's more open farmland. There's some wider open spaces. On the Highway 16 corridor, I might go that way, except you're a lot more hemmed in by the trees. It's a lot more roly-poly along the highway. There's no like high places to easily go park. So I found chasing west of Prince George frustrating in the past, even though we did catch that tornado-warned storm last August doing so. Let's look at some of the forecasts. I don't want to wax on too long here, but it's been a few days, so there's a lot to talk about. Although for the most part, BC today is mostly relegated up against the as far east as you can go, a little bit up in the Peace and then into the Yukon and whatnot. I think our big story here is the severity risk in the Regina area. You got the 2 to 3 centimeter hail, and then just in behind that's that risk of funnel clouds. That includes, just over towards Medicine Hat, but not too far into the line into Alberta today. So that's probably where the strongest storms in Canada today are going to be, into Saskatchewan. So happy hunting, chaser friends. And like I say, for the most part, minor pop-up thunderstorms are possible along this whole eastern flank of British Columbia, but I don't expect severity to be an issue. Maybe the strongest storms will be actually up in Dawson on the very western end of Canada. There is some areas of high risk, of course. Tornado outlook. SPC's got tornado outlook down in the States where that's kind of going off there. And they got wind issues up along this whole saddle. And then we got hail issues down in this. I'm not here to talk about the states, just kind of pointing this out, into Colorado, up towards Montana, and then squeaking up into Saskatchewan. Now, to me, when you see 0.1% of a tornado within 25 miles of a point, it's pretty insignificant. That is maybe your chance to see a funnel cloud that doesn't reach the ground. So to me, like when I see 0.1%, I think that's funnel cloud possible. A little bit of that risk in northern Ontario and into Quebec today. Are we going to see any tornadoes come out of this? Not too likely. Not out of the question, though, however, either. Of course, we are in a bit of a warm pattern, and one of the areas that's going to get the warmest is going to be the Northwest Territories. So we're going to see their fire risk go up. There's been a lot of precipitation that landed in Edmonton area this weekend. So we have flood things to talk about there before we go look at the general forecast. The jet stream's kind of broken down for the most part right now. Although, as you can see, we come into the weekend, BC finds itself maybe on the north side of the jet stream. We might have a temporary cool down before it budges back up and gets hot again. I find these Alberta provincial maps for flood hazards annoying, frustrating. Like you zoom in, it's got just a bunch of random dots in places, like just some points. I find that really frustrating. I want to see a map that like has the rivers lit up with colors or has an area like BC has. This region, we have stream flows and a bit of a statement. I just find this is such a clanky, janky way of doing things. So like it's not the worst. I just don't find it for me as like someone who doesn't live in Alberta is not going to look at it very often. Maybe if you look at this thing all the time, you'd be like, wow, this is a great system. For me, I find that this is a frustrating system with just the little points and you got to click on them to see things so you get some of the, but if you live in Alberta, well, you got to pay attention to the floods right now. I find Flood Hub a little bit more user friendly on Google. And you can like basically see where some of the rivers are than like they have in red or even sort of a dark purple or maroon, maybe you'd call that, areas where they're very concerned about. So it also has like points on here, but the points tell you something just by their colors. And you can see Edmonton is surrounded by flood risk after Alberta in general, right out to Bonnyville, and then a little bit in Saskatchewan after taking a lot of rain from the system we sent them on Friday. I went over there on Saturday and created severe weather, which I didn't get to forecast for you about. But some of the people on my team, Comedy Meteorology Report, were out there chasing. So hopefully we'll hear from them on the podcast on Thursday night. And we have been seeing our fire risk creeping up a little bit in the BC interior, creeping up. It's been hot down south, although the next round of thunderstorms is going to deliver plenty of rain again. And for at least other regions of the province, things are going to be okay. So I told you, like, if you go south and you go into the low country, like around Kamloops or Kelowna or Lytton, you're going to see that fire risk be much higher than the rest of us in the province are maybe experiencing. So the dry places are typically dry, and we had a fire event that happened in Lytton on Friday. Completely expected that these low places, but these are a little bit of a short-lived story still. Like you consider the fire that just happened there, and then you compare it to the fire behavior, what happened in 2021 when it was 49.6 degrees in Lytton, and you say like, well, yes, we had fire and it was bad. And like meteorologist Mark says, like it doesn't have to be a bad fire season. If your house is the only one that burns down, you're going to say that was a bad fire season. So, not trying to minimize the catastrophe already that was experienced this weekend, but trying to say we're still in better conditions right now than people are acting like or talking like. So I know everyone's very afraid of fire in British Columbia. There's a lot of fear about this, but we have to keep in mind that year by year, things do fluctuate. We could easily find ourselves into a bad trend at some point, but that's not necessarily the case right now. In fact, in a lot of ways, the West, in a lot of ways, Canada on the whole looks better than it has in many years for fires. We do have higher risk. This is just fire weather danger. We will, at some point, when it gets more and more of a talking point, go deeper into wildfire outlooks. Certainly, Northwest Territories in a little bit of trouble, but you can see in this map how, and kind of shut the door down on BC a little bit, while the Northwest Territories remains pretty dry, and northern Saskatchewan and northern Manitoba is starting to dry out because there's going to be a lot more heat up there than we are maybe hoping for, expecting. It's going to be one of the warmer areas up there. It's shocking, actually, how hot it's been getting in the north every summer and how much thunderstorm activity is going on up there. It's not normal at all. Here we are coming into July 4th, and BC's got lots of blue areas. So thank your lucky stars. We got some problem areas. We're going to see it go up and down a little bit in some of the lower country, some of the more susceptible to fire area, the areas that are susceptible to risk more. And I'm not saying that wildfires won't happen. What I'm saying is that extreme, prolonged wildfire behavior is less likely in most regions of BC right now. So it's not like one of those times where everybody in the province has to have all their bags totally packed and ready and be ready to run. Now we're going to have thunderstorms come back through, deliver a bunch of more precipitation. They will start some small minor fires like happened on Friday, which were all hit for the most part pretty quickly. So we're not bad standing. You're looking across the board there, how many dots do we have right now on the wildfire map? Compared to some other years, it's still pretty good. Although January is going on, and that's often the case. So our big story this weekend was Lytton. That happened. That's the Saw Creek fire. That's K70597, Kite 70597 or 7. 2 evacuation orders there. 704 hectares. Human-caused wildfire. Totally pisses you off. We don't have a new update as of Monday morning, but yesterday they were saying fire activity decreased overnight due to the cooler temperatures. There was a little less wind. Structure protection personnel prioritize the protection and defense of the structure that's there. Fire crews and aircraft focused efforts on securing the perimeter. Crews are working on the north and south flanks to suppress active wildfire spread. It was burning rank 1 to 3. Temperatures were the mid-20s to low 30s yesterday. Relatively humidity was trending lower, so there was potential for fire activity. That's probably what happened. There's an incident management team. There's 135 wildfire service personnel, 9 helicopters, 47 structure protection personnel as well. So they're taking this one seriously. Okay, we're going to run through this real quickly. So there's a little bit of a low stuck there, just stuck there in the prairies right now, and that's going to produce a bunch of thunderstorms today. Some of those thunderstorms will be strong. There's convective available potential energy there. Maybe we'll see some watches through the day, maybe a few funnel clouds possible. BC mostly trending up the east side and up into Northwest Territories, up into the Yukon, sliding over to Alaska. The low just kind of stuck there and spinning through the night. Eventually it does sort of budge out a little bit. Now, what I'm really here to talk about is Wednesday for BC. Low still sort of firing in the same area, kind of hanging around there. We got a few thunderstorms that are going to pop up on Tuesday. Tuesday's not the day, though. I think Tuesday's the day where there's going to be lots of action. Could see some fire starts down in the south. Vancouver Island, here's looking at you. It's been pretty dry down there, even though the weather's not totally on side. It's been pretty dry. Fire risk is a little bit high there. West Cariboo, it's been fairly green here. We're not in too bad a situation, but we do have that risk of thunderstorm out there Tuesday in the region. Up into Tumbler, up into the Peace, more organized, and the Alberta side, high level area. Could see some stronger thunderstorms in through there, I think, as well. So a couple of these look like pretty good nugs up into the Yukon, very far north up to the Alaska Arctic Ocean almost. Another low sitting there in Alaska, putting some energy down there. BC mostly warm, mostly quite warm, 25, 28. We're in the official summer now, so you expect that. It's not like, oh, what the heck, BC's warm. That's what we expect to see, 25s to 30s. That's what I consider to be normal summertime temperatures at this time. Widespread thunderstorms popping up on Tuesday all over BC. We'll wake up in the morning tomorrow and give you really good reports on what we expect to happen. But it's Wednesday's the day that I got pinned on for chasing. Wednesday's the day I think that's going to be pretty epic for us here. The prairies are kind of getting drier with that high taking over Saskatchewan. My guess for where I want to be chasing is going to be up north of Prince George. You can see some areas into the Rocky Mountains that are looking really good. This area in through Vanderhoof and south again, some of the same areas we saw our tornado watch the other day. where the storms were coming from is where I think some of the strong ones are going to be. I might hedge my bet on going up the Heart a little ways. I might hedge that. It depends, because everything's going to be going there, I think, eventually. Eventually, it's going to come there. Low sitting right over Prince George. It's pretty close in behavior to what we had last time. Now, is there other places I might want to consider going in that area? I mean, this is tough. This is going to be a tough one because every direction there's going to be something probably going on. Maybe the upper Fraser's good. Maybe down the 16 will be good, but viewing's tough in there. Viewing's tough. Tumbler, look out. You're going to get good thunderstorms down through there. Hudson Hope, look out. You're going to get good ones. All the way into the Peace. Watch for smokes. Call them in because once they are too big, it gets much, much harder to fight. So there's all this activity from the low that will be sitting there at Wednesday in the afternoon. We're going to have a really tight look at all this tomorrow. All we're going to talk about tomorrow is in my next video tomorrow is going to be about these thunderstorms. But, my sense is that if I sit up north of Prince George, I'll probably find myself in a good viewing location. It just depends. So it's going to be tough. Going to have to make some calls. Do we go for where the better storms might be, which I think, your best chance of running into severe ones out towards Vanderhoof, seeing as there's no roads into the Rockies really here? Do I go north up towards Bear Lake somewhere or Salmon Valley where there's some high viewing chances and wait for it? See, at least if I'm in Bear Lake at 2 in the afternoon, we could take a run up towards Mackenzie, or we could take a run south. I'm just not sure yet. What my play is going to be. This looks pretty meaty. So do I catch it coming through Prince George? I wish there was a road that easily connected here to here. Otherwise, got a river in the way, Nechako. But there, bam. That's what I'm kind of banking on. 5 o'clock. That's solid. So either which way, no matter which way we decide to go, and then on my way home, maybe I'll catch some more down. I think that's the play Thursdays. I'm going to go north. I mean, you could go anywhere in the region and probably run into a thunderstorm. There's no doubt about that. On Thursday, some of that energy crosses over on the Alberta side, up and down the foothills. Manitoba, pop-ups everywhere. Stronger storms even up into the Northwest Territories, up the Rockies up there. We're going to see Western Canada get very thunderstormy in the days ahead. Even Friday. Yes, Friday is a go, especially in the Alberta Peace side where we had a tornado. A couple tornadoes last week. You're going to see some maybe severe weather up that north of Grand Prairie area. Again, the Peace, Fort Nelson, up into the Northwest Territories, up into the Yukon. You're going to see a lot of lightning. The fire danger is going to be high. We're going to have fires breaking out in the Northwest Territories again. There's no avoiding it again this year. Low, severe storms likely in Regina. Thunderstorms again. The Yukon, the Northwest Territories, just flashing like crazy up there on Saturday. So just giving you a bit of a look out. It's been a little while, and then we have maybe a stronger low coming Sunday the 28th into the prairies. That might be like a definite severe weather producer. There's a few severe weather producing moments in here. Definitely into Monday last week. BC's lighting up. The low sitting there in the prairies. Again, it's kind of trapped. It feels like it's not moving much for a day 2 or 3. I'm going to put that risk into Manitoba into Monday, and then things kind of reset with the new low developing Tuesday. There's something I was looking at, though, the other day. Wow, Canada Day is going to be explosive, it looks like, for Eastern Prairie side. But I'm just looking further out. Man, if someone will sponsor me, I will start getting ready to be Saturday, July 4th in Saskatchewan, man. If somebody wants to sponsor this channel, put a couple $100 down for gasoline, I'll give you all the advertising you want because I would love to go see this. Something crazy is going to happen to start. I mean, that's a long ways out, so it won't be exactly like this yet, but something crazy is going to happen early in July, I think, in the prairies. I know that's really long and running on. I'm sorry. I'm going to make more videos today to talk about why we can't ignore tornado threats in BC. I had to do my best to get everything out to you in one video after being a few days off. Please like, share, subscribe, keep coming on by. Doing my best for everybody, okay? And I was the only one who warned you. I told you strongest storms in Canada on Friday would be in Prince George, Cariboo region, and guess what happened? Strongest storms in Canada. All right, bye now.